Hello, I'm Larry Lee with Brownfield Ag News. Marcy Heim joins us today. Marcy is here representing a very interesting organization, Wisconsin Rural Opportunities Foundation. I admit, I have heard very little about this group, but they've been around for a long time. Tell us about the foundation, Marcy.
Well, Larry, first off, thank you so much for extending the invitation to spend some time with you today, because I truly believe we are one of Wisconsin's best kept secrets. And this is a marvelous opportunity to share the news across the state that the Wisconsin Rural Opportunities Foundation, in fact, has been in existence now for more than 80 years. We began in the Great Depression, and originally the government invested some dollars into what they called rural rehabilitation corporations to help the agricultural industry of the state bolster up through the Great Depression. And out of that, some really wise board members did some great investing and created the foundation as we know it today.
Now, the foundation has primarily one purpose, right?
Yes, Larry, that's correct. Our sole purpose is to foster vitality of rural Wisconsin. We don't go beyond rural Wisconsin borders. We don't go beyond the state, and we focus solely on rural Wisconsin.
So, what types of things does the foundation do with the money it raises?
Well, Larry, we do a variety of things. Primarily, about 100 to 150 students each year receive our support in the form of a scholarship. Our scholarships are awarded through about 30 educational partners throughout the state. So our scholarships touch almost every educational institution you can think of that has rural or rural health programs. So for example, many of the UW system schools, all of the VOTEC schools, and then programs like 4-H, FFA, the Wisconsin Rural Leadership Program. We really have a broad gamut of organizations that we support with our scholarships.
So it sounds like there are very many ways to perhaps earn a scholarship from this, whether it's at the FFA level still in high school or going on to college or technical school.
Exactly. And this year we did for the first time something that we call our Premier Scholar Award. And it's the first time, Larry, that instead of awarding through the institutions where they make the selection, we actually created our own application and sought our own applicants directly. And this was for a high school senior who planned to go on to college and then return to rural Wisconsin. Now, you might be thinking, how does some 18-year-old know what they're going to do the rest of their life? And we get that. We get that at this point in time, it's their vision and their dream, and it may or may not turn out that way. But I was astounded at how clear these young people are about what they want to do with their lives. And would you know, Larry, that we had over 300 applications for our Premier Scholar Award, which in the interesting year we had in 2020 made the selection process quite unique. All of it was conducted online, and we recruited a selection committee, but we came up with not only one scholar, but the quality was so amazing that our board members actually gave extra dollars so we could award more scholarships. So that's at the high school level. Of course, the 4-H and the FFA programs can be at the high school level as well. But we also support veterinary students in their last year of veterinary school at the university. And we support doctors in the Wisconsin Academy of Rural Medicine, the WARM program, because one of our other goals is to be sure that we're addressing rural health issues.
So it's not just one field, it's health, it's agriculture, it's pretty much anything that rural communities would need.
Correct. And our rural scholar, and I just want to be sure, is Peyton. I just want to find her last name for you here. But Peyton's vision and goal is to be an elementary teacher in her hometown. And she comes from a farm and wants to inspire those rural values and those rural understandings as she teaches elementary school. And she, this year, even with COVID, was able to actually get placed with four-year-olds and do some actual in-school work, as well as doing her virtual training. And she was just so excited about it. It's absolutely everything we're trying to accomplish in our mission.
Let's say you're a high school student, freshman to senior, anywhere in that range, and you're looking ahead. What should they know about the foundation and how it might help them as they approach that time when they could possibly benefit from a scholarship?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, Larry. And honestly, our mission is all about fostering vitality of rural Wisconsin. So I think what these students really need to do, as much as you can do when you're that age, is that kind of soul searching to say, where do I see myself going? What's important to me? What values are important to me? Where do I see myself going beyond high school? Where do I see myself living? Because we're really looking for people of all ages that have a passion for returning to their rural home areas or rural Wisconsin. And that's probably the thing that's hardest for some of them to know, is where they want to be. So I would say, Larry, that what they need to do is certainly get good grades, because we do look at that, and know that all of our support, of course, helps those with financial need. But to really spend some time reflecting on what's important to them and getting clear on where they want to go with their life as best they can at that age.
The foundation's been raising money for many years. How does the foundation find its dollars?
And Larry, that's another outstanding question, because again, as I mentioned, we originally were created as a program in the Great Depression. And there are people like Walter Rank and Richard Rank and now Brett Rank, the Rank Seeds family that's been on our board a long time. And Jim Caldwell, who is the president of the First Citizens Bank, has been on our board for years. And Joan Bear is our current president. And I mentioned those names, and I could mention our entire board, because I can't tell you how important it is, their leadership and their vision in seeing the opportunity to invest those dollars and grow an endowment for us to do this great work. In addition, we've had some wonderful major investments that have helped us create more endowment as well. But we're very careful to always retain our sustainability through our endowment. In the last 10 years, we've gotten much more active in actually reaching out to others and asking for their support. So this year we're talking to the almost 6,000 past recipients of our awards and asking them to consider paying it forward. In addition, we're reaching out to just rural Wisconsin in general. And how we're trying to do this is, we don't want people to just give to us, but we want to be able to double what they do. So our board will double any gift of $500 or $1,000 to double the impact that gift has. And why that's so important is, this might surprise you, but I'm going to ask you a question back. When we survey and talk to our scholarship recipients, what do you think they tell us is most important about their scholarship? Do you think they want more $500 or $1,000 scholarships, or they would rather have more $5,000, $10,000, or full tuition scholarships?
My guess is they'd rather have a few of the smaller ones, so they'd rather earn it.
There you go, Larry. You're spot on. That's exactly what we've discovered. And they tell us that as important as those dollars are, that pat on the back, that you're doing a good job, we believe in you, that message that getting that scholarship sends them, is almost important as the dollars itself. So we really want to foster generosity in that $500 and $1,000 range so we can match it. And I want to also say, for some people that might sound like a lot. We've also launched what we call the Rural Guardians, and that's a program that lets you provide a monthly gift. And if you think about it, $22 or $42 a month will also provide one of these scholarships. And now here's the best part. We don't care where you want to put that award. If you're a UW Platteville alum, or if you're very dedicated to 4-H, or whatever your passion is, we're happy to invest those dollars directly in the area, the program, or the school or college that means most to you.
We've seen an increase in the number of ag-related jobs available in the last roughly decade, but I've heard a lot of employers say it's hard to find students that want to go into the ag fields. Are you getting quite a few applicants that are going into the ag fields? Or are they mostly going into other rural areas like health, for example?
I would say that out of the over 300 awards, this is really the only thing I have to measure that on in response to your question, is out of the over 300 applications we received for our first time ever Rural Scholar, 80% of them were pursuing more traditional agricultural majors and about 20% non-ag. So that was a good sign.
A good sign indeed. And I'm sure the employers would love to hear that too.
And these are bright kids. Oh my goodness gracious. The struggle that our selection committee had was remarkable, because I just wish that we could have found a way to give each and every one of those kids some sort of support.
It's kind of struggle you like to have, though.
Well, yes, indeed. Yes.
So it is the start of a new year, maybe too late for certain tax advantages, but maybe not for others. Any advice to people that would be considering a gift at this point?
Sure. Larry, last year about 440 billion was given in the United States, and of that about 35% happened in December. So December is a year where we sit back and we say, how's the year gone for us, and look at our financial situation and think about those things that are important to us and make those investments. And that's great. But the entire year, these students need our support. And unlike a lot of organizations, we will match gifts throughout the year. And the tax deduction is important, but more important is understanding that you're touching a life, that you're transforming a life. And especially now when so many of our kids are working and studying remotely, and that's tough. I don't care what you've heard about it. What we hear from our students is especially some of the hands-on work that they do is tough to do virtually. So that support and that encouragement is more important now than ever. And a gift anytime throughout the year, or as I said, something continuous monthly, is something that is needed and appreciated and will be awarded right away.
So it's not an annual award, it's when it's needed.
We do most of our awards in January. We're doing that right now. But throughout the year, if we have an opportunity to do something, let me give you an example of that. The other thing that's wonderful about this foundation is we are small enough to be very nimble. So about, I got it 6 years ago now, I attended a program of the School of Veterinary Medicine. And at the time, Dean Darrell Buss was the dean. And Darrell talked about the fact that they needed loans for their fourth-year students who were doing in-field work and had no opportunity to work above and beyond their schooling work, their internship work. And really, it was a really financially kind of hard time for them. And he was working with the state legislature to give some $10,000 loans to those fourth-year students that would then be forgiven for every year they worked in the state of Wisconsin. Well, sadly, the state didn't pick it up. We did. And we started a loan program with the School of Veterinary Medicine where we give them fourth-year students loans at a very low interest rate. And for every year they practice large animal or large and small animal combination in the state, we forgive $1,000, up to half of the loan. And that's something that we can do that a lot of folks can't, is we can be nimble to respond to what we see are the needs in the state right now.
Interesting program. As I had heard that it fell apart at the legislature, I did not know you picked it up.
Well, thank you. And we award between 5 and 10 of those every year. And we just launched that with another program that I think is just outstanding. And this is a physician's assistance program also at the UW-Madison. But there are areas in rural Wisconsin that are really underserved medically. They don't have access to health care. They drive ridiculous amount of miles to get to any place. And there's a program in the physician's assistant program that literally will do the training in their rural areas remotely or via some of the local schools. And then they come down to Madison for a part of their training. And then they go back and they literally practice as a physician assistant in their rural areas. It's just been remarkable for us, because these are people, Larry, they're not kids. They're married, they've got families, and they are looking for a way to change their career direction and do something more meaningful for them. And they're becoming physician's assistants sometimes in their 30s and 40s. And we're supporting those folks with both loans and scholarships so that they can manage their lives and continue their educations and go back to rural Wisconsin and serve where they're most needed. It's pretty exciting.
I've heard of situations where a couple of friends of mine, for example, they started off getting a CNA, never had the real opportunity to move on to nursing training because life just got in the way. Same thing with a couple of physician's assistants that couldn't practice or study for their MD. Same situation, and it looks like you're helping out in some of those.
Spot on. You have very well expressed the situation. A lot of these folks are folks that, when most people go to college, the opportunity just wasn't there for them. And now there are programs that can let them accomplish some of those life dreams and serve the state so well now. Mm-hmm.
If someone wants to contribute to the foundation, how do they do that?
I thought you'd never ask. No. The best probably way to go is to our website, which is www.wrof.org, and click on the donate button or go to the donate page, but it's simply wrof.org. And there you'll find you can either give via PayPal online, or you can at any time. And let me just share, you can mail us a check to our P.O. box.
People are still using checks, huh?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And a bit of a surprise. I've seen very few paper checks in the last several years.
Well, I think part of that is because a lot of the places will ask you to pick up the cost, the charge of processing your gift online. And some people don't want to do that. They would rather have 100% of their gift go, and they know if they write a check that 100% of those dollars go. So our P.O. box is 6522 Madison, Wisconsin, 53744. That's of course also on our website, but some people prefer to send in a check. And there's also a form you can download online. But Larry, do we have an opportunity for me to tell you about some of the kids that have gotten our scholarships this year?
Absolutely, yes.
Because, Larry, it's not about the money. It's about what the money does. And for these kids, it's the difference between their family struggling and for some of them not even going to school. So let me just talk about a few here that I selected for you. First, our scholar winner, our first Premier Scholar winner is Peyton Merkel Marie Clark. And she's from Ontario, Wisconsin. She graduated from Brookwood High School. Her parents are Todd and Tracy Clark. And she's pursuing a degree, as I said, in elementary education at Western Technical College. She's deeply involved in her family dairy, beef, and crop farm, and looks forward to bringing agriculture into the classroom upon her graduation. And she did share back with us that she's finishing her first semester at Wisconsin Tech, and she received straight A's in all of her classes, and that she attended her classes by Zoom. But this is what I was telling you, that she completed her practicum with 4-year-olds in person, and she put about 10 exclamation points behind that. And she enjoyed this experience, and she knows she's on the right track. Then there's Melissa Smarka, and she is a future physical therapist. And she received the Joan Baer WRF Board Scholarship, and she's from Algoma, attending UW Green Bay, pursuing an education in physical therapy. And finally, I wanted to talk to you about Savannah Sider, and she is received the Jim Caldwell Citizen Banks WRF Scholar, and she is also at UW Green Bay, and she's working on becoming a veterinarian. And after her degree, she wants to practice in rural Wisconsin while raising her own livestock. And she also hopes to become a volunteer and mentor in her community. When I asked these scholars about the importance of this award, though, a theme came up, and that's the point I wanted to share. Jeremiah Iam quotes that having been awarded this WRF scholarship increases my financial standing as a college student while decreasing my need for student loans and my overall debt. And that's one thing I wanted to share with you is I think different than when we were in school. These kids are coming out with just an enormous amount of student loan debt. And anything that we can do to help with that makes such a difference for them and is such a relief for them. And the appreciation that they express for these scholarships is just heartwarming. And the vision and the dedication they have for how they can serve is inspiring. I wish you could meet each and every one of them.
Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up today?
Just once again, that I thank you, Larry, for this time and chance to do it. And I would encourage all of you to consider the Wisconsin Rural Opportunities Foundation for one of the ways that you invest in the young people in our state that will be, and all people in our state that will be making a difference in fostering the vitality of rural Wisconsin for generations to come. And thank you again for this time.
Marcy Heim is with the Wisconsin Rural Opportunities Foundation. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.